This is our wedding song. We did it.
That's what we were dancing in our wedding, and this is very beat.
What's up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. So in theory of marriage lessons this morning, that was our wedding song. So we thought that'd be a good way to kick off the morning, not to get too Tiff's back there crying. Yeah, no, her mom's back there crying. My kids are like, this is a weird song. I didn't know you liked this. Everybody have a good day yesterday? Meet some cool people? Feel not so alone and stupid and shitty and sucky and depressed and anxious and miserable? You're like, it's not just me. Oh my God, this is great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Hey, can we turn Tiff's mic off before she like farts or something? So, we are not a company that likes to pitch from stage, but we made a decision as a team yesterday to make a special offer because there's a lot of interest in like, what does it look like to get into coaching with us? Like, this is what we do for a living, right? And we try to be very intentional about like delivering value first and bringing value first and really not trying to pitch. But I felt a little bad last night because everybody was asking, like, well, do you have more events? Like, can we get to more events? I want to get to more events, and we don't want to do all this stuff, right? And the unfortunate reality is normally in our ecosystem, the Champion Circle is our primary event program, and it locks down at the end of the year. It's a 12-month program, January to December, and we lock it down to keep the events more intimate. That way it's the same people at every event. You know, when you go to a new event like yesterday morning, some of you guys probably had a little bit of like, well, who is this? Who is that? He looks more successful than me. What's up with his ears? That's weird. Like, you have this like a little bit of imposter syndrome, right? So we keep the groups locked down. And so we're like, well, people are interested in coaching. People are asking questions. What does this look like? And I'm like, doesn't it sound great? Like, I'm so glad you like our events. We can't wait to see you in January. That just didn't seem like that was a really fair offer. So for anybody who's interested, we're going to do a one-day, if you sign up today offer, we're going to open up the Champion Circle for you guys. We've never done this before. This is the third year of the Champion Circle. We've never opened it up mid-year. And like, I know that sounds, I even hate saying that. I was talking to Sam last night. I was like, that's the most markety bullshit I've ever heard in my life. But it's the truth. And people who are in the program, stand up real quick if you're a current or previous WinRate client. Let's celebrate them for a minute. Thank you guys so much for supporting us and believing in us, but they'll tell you this is not a fucking joke. Like, we locked that group down very intentionally for a reason, to protect the culture. So that program, what the details of that program is, you get 2 one-on-one coaching calls a month with one of these amazing coaches you've heard speak yesterday and today. You get a 2-day in-person event per quarter, so there's 3 more quarters, which Q2 is kind of questionable right now, but we'll get to that later. And it's $2,500 a month plus $1,000 per event. So your investment for the remainder of the year would be $23,000. So like, that's a one-day offer. If you want to get into coaching after today, you can get into coaching. It's the same $2,500. You just don't get access to the events. And because we kind of baited and switched you a little bit, like, look how great our events are. See you in 2024. Just didn't feel right. If you're interested, I know some of you guys have asked questions or are interested. If you have to sign up today. So get with myself, get with one of the coaches. We'll get you with Lindsay, our operations manager, and we'll get the contract out to you today, get it signed, and you're in. So basically, your payments would start basically May 1st, $2,500 a month. And then the events fees are only if you attend them, which obviously you would want to. But your total investment for the remainder of the year would be $23,000. And I don't like doing this, to be honest. Like, I don't like opening that because it's something I've been very disciplined in and not opening up that program because of how important those events are. And those of you that have been a part of Champion Circle events, like it is meaningful to see the same people and have such a linear growth throughout the year. But I think everybody here who's been a part of that can appreciate how much you would want somebody else to get involved in that and get the value from it. So if you're interested in coaching, that's the program, that's the one-day offer, it's $2,500 a month. Like I said, you get 2 coaching calls a month and access to those events. If you don't want to do that today, there's no pressure. If you want to sign up tomorrow for coaching, cool. It's $2,500 a month. Like that's the program. Signing up today would just get you access to the events for the remainder of the year. If you don't want to do that, you want to wait. This is not a hard pressure, but I really wanted to do something because yesterday was really impactful for us as a team. Like the way that you guys came together as like friends and foes and strangers and new people and you guys just blended yesterday, like exceeded our expectations as an organization. And to be fair, we exceeded our expectations as an organization. We were on time all day yesterday. We did a good job. We brought good value. The AV worked, the music worked, the PowerPoint worked out, right? So it was a really good day, but what you experienced here is the same formula you would experience at a Champion Circle event. The difference is it's all clients and it's the same people every quarter. We have many people that are going into their 2nd and 3rd year of that program because of the relationships that they've built. You know, Tom's been around for a while, you've been around for a while, Sean's been around for a while, Adam's been around for a while, James needs to come back. Love you.
I'll come back.
Look at that.
Who's coming with me?
No, it's like James is actually somebody I coached in 2020, and he went from hating his business to about to exit it for a multiplier substantially higher. And that's just the power that we bring. Again, I don't like pitching from stage. We as a team agreed last night that we wanted to open it up for one day only. Like it's literally like we shouldn't be doing it, and it's kind of unfair to the people who are like, if I don't sign up, I don't get in. There's people that have signed up this year that didn't get in. Like since January, there are coaching clients that are not getting access to this offer. You have today. If you're interested, today is your day to get access. If you don't want to, no hard feelings. I'm not even going to bring it up again. If you're interested, man up, ask somebody, get with Lindsay, get a contract, and let's get started. Let's get started to change your life forever. All right? Sound good? Awesome. Well, this morning, we're going to be talking about marriage. I want to bring my wife, Tiffany, up. There she comes. And so allow me just to tell you how we have a perfect marriage. Nothing ever goes wrong, and I don't know why you guys have issues. But we've got a lot of questions. So to give some context, we've been married for 10 years. We've been together for 12. She's almost the longest relationship. I had one dog that I had longer than her. Mm-hmm. So she's close.
Getting close.
I might have to put her down before we get there. But what we're going to bring you today are some best practices we've learned over the last 10 years that have helped us maintain connectivity. It has not been always good. It has not always been fun. It has not always been enjoyable. We've had fights. We've had bouts of lack of intimacy. We've had bouts with money issues. We've had bouts with just anger and hatred and frustration. And we've been through all of that over the last 10 years. And what I'll tell you is, I think you would agree at this point, like something changed when we decided to run our entire life like a business. Mm-hmm. And what that gave us the ability to do is have objective, non-emotional conversations. Like business is supposed to be non-emotional. But then you get into the marriage side of things, and all of a sudden it becomes this battle of emotion. And when we decide to run our life like a business, these conversations of you're failing, it's not your failing, it's the mission's failing. It's our process is failing. It's our approach is failing. It's our money management is failing. It's our intimacy is failing. Like this is like the story I like saying the most. I'm gonna say, but like when she don't feel sexy, I don't get sexy, and I need sexy in my life. Like I'm an intimacy like driven person. My love language is like touch. And so like there was a season I'm like, bitch, you get your ass in the gym. Like you are fluffy, and you know it. And I know it because it's been like 3 weeks. And I got like, we got to fix this. Be like, you said what? And she said, thank you? And it's like, yeah, because we align with, we are attacking our problems as one. Neither one of us are ever trying to win. It's not like, hey, you got more or I got more. It's like, you gotta get your shit together. Like, you're not living up to the expectations of your role in the machine. And I don't know if that's fair or not. I don't know if that works or not, but it's worked for us. Having the ability to say, we're gonna run this like a business, and we're gonna get into like 5 or 6 different tactics that we use, from budgeting and SWOT analysis and quarterly initiatives and all this other stuff. But the number one thing I would tell you is you have to look at your relationships. This isn't just with marriage, though. I was talking to some people yesterday about partnerships. Like, understand, like, you have to set the roles and responsibilities accordingly. What are the expectations? What happens when you are under-delivering? Like, I have needs and wants. The machine has needs and wants. The business has needs and wants. You can't get away from that. That's a matter of fact. So if you're afraid to hold people accountable to the standard, you start to negotiate the standard. We talked yesterday, what happens when you negotiate the standard? You hate what you build. You don't like it anymore. You hate it. It disgusts you, it embarrasses you, it makes you anxious and depressed. We made a commitment to each other. I think it was probably when I left corporate America.
I was gonna say, we made that decision when I was still in corporate America. And you started seeing how small businesses run, and you're like, if this is that important for the small business to do, like, why aren't we doing it at home? It all started on the financials, like the cash flow side. So
we're gonna get to some Q&A, but I want you to talk about, like, I obviously get a lot of questions from the man side. Mm-hmm. I think there's more women here that are excited about this conversation than men. But like, with your Mrs. Wincredible stuff and the conversations you had on that side, like, what would you say is one of the biggest things that you see that we've done that other people have struggled with or were looking to do? Or
So I think a lot of the topics we talked about, like, we had multiple calls a month, just kind of getting together, talking about specific topics, talking about like what's everybody experiencing. And a lot of it came around like, okay, we've set these goals because my husband's coach told him to set these goals, but then like, how do like me and my kids fit into that? Like, how do we basically compete with the business goals? Because I feel like we're competing with it. And like, how do we find that balance? We don't operate in balance. Never have, never will. Nothing will ever be equal across the board. We search for harmony. Like, because it's going to ebb and flow. Like, parenting comes in stages, life comes in different seasons. Like, there's always going to be one of your buckets that's going to need more of your attention than others. Communicating that, though, is a game changer. Like he said yesterday, when it came sales season, TCC and Hall of Fame are opening up, October to December, I'm going to be incredibly distracted. Like, just set the expectations up front. But like, we set goals together. And like he said, we do a SWOT analysis to say, like, this is where we're doing really well right now. This is where we can do better. Like, what are the goals or initiatives we want to set from that? Like, how do we want to improve or fix it? Or how do we want to accomplish this big dream this quarter? And we do it quarterly. And we check in throughout the quarter to say, like, how are we doing on this? And I think that's probably the biggest thing is all the coaches are helping my husband set goals, but like, how do we become a priority in those goals was typically conversation.
And so what I see happen all the time in conversations, obviously I typically coach men. I have had some women clients, but typically I coach men. The conversation typically comes from the spouse. The guy goes, well, she asks, like, when is it her turn? Doesn't she fucking know how hard I'm working? And we have this internal perspective of like, they understand what you're trying to accomplish. I think it's the biggest gap in relationships, whether that's marriage or friendships or anything, is that the other person just understands what you're doing. And so what I've like coached people through and what I feel like done a good job at is like, this is the mission I'm on. This is the role you play in my mission right now. And then this is the role you'll get to play when the mission becomes successful. Right, so sometimes it's like, I just need you to handle the kids for the next 8 weeks. Like, I just need you to take ownership of that. Like, I got to do this, and then when that happens, I'll be able to have this time. Or like, 2023 will be different for us if I'm successful in these 8 weeks compared to not being successful. Right, because we would have undersold wildly that like 2023 would be a wildly different conversation. You know, it just wouldn't have been the same. And so, but that's short term and long term. What am I working towards? Most of you can't even tell yourself what your mission is. What are we working towards? Surviving tomorrow. That is not a mission, sir. That is a survival strategy. It is not the same. You know, I had some questions yesterday about like what happens when the two spouses have individual targets, right? We each have our own desire to become successful at something. Well, that becomes part of the SWOT analysis. So every single year for 8 years now?
Yes.
For, I think 8 years.
Yeah.
I think for the last 8 years, at the end of the year, we do target setting. Individually, and then we bring it together. Like, when's the last time you even asked your spouse, what do you want? What do you want? And so we use 7 categories. Mm-hmm. And it's cool though, because we have our notes all the way back to 8 years ago, and like, it's funny looking back because like there were 3 years in a row, one of our financial targets was to save $5,000.
We failed.
For the year.
Miserably.
For the 3 years straight, that was our target. And every year, the credit card got bigger. I'm like, how the fuck do we keep pulling this off? But so every year, the end of the year is where it starts. And so we've learned a lot of lessons over the last 8 years. We set a lot of targets and like never talked about it again. And we're gonna do this, we're gonna make this change this year. And then like August rolls around, you're like, oh my God, I totally forgot we said we were gonna do that this year. Maybe we'll try next year. It's like, but you still have like 35% of the year left. Why are we pushing that till next year? And so it started with, but this is really, really important. This is the biggest part of this that we learned is don't sit down and do this together initially. Because if you do it together and one person goes, well, I want this to be a goal. The other person goes, that sounds nice. And because they're afraid to push back because they think, well, that's what you want. Well, who am I to say something different? And then there isn't that give and take. So we each build our list of initiatives for the year, and then we bring them together. And that allows us to see what's important. But we also started doing, at the end of the year, is we each individually separate and write down our most memorable accomplishments from the year. This is like one of my favorite stories. I hate this story, but I think it's funny. So something simple. I wrote down like everything that I was grateful for from the previous year, right? We typically go away from like December 27th to December 30th. We do it every year. We go away, we get out of our house, we go rent somewhere. We basically like plan for a day, sex for a day, shop for a day. Like that's our routine. Mm-hmm. She's clapping. But
it's a very successful trip.
She's a big champion of us for that. And so one year I wrote down, like, I really enjoyed the fact that we had like seasonal wreaths every season. Like I liked coming home to my house and on the door was a seasonal wreath. I had 150 things I was grateful for. Were you at this one?
The Apex.
So we're at a fly-in Friday at one of the mastermind groups I'm at. And we're talking about this in front of 200, like I'm one of the lead coaches of this elite mastermind. And we're talking about this like couple planning. And Tiff goes up and goes, yeah, Mike loves wreaths. I didn't even know. I'm like, all that shit I put on that list. Can I tell you how many wreaths got sent to our house over the next 90 days? It was ridiculous.
It's like little things like that.
But little things like that, when you just recap the year, and then we took it to a whole nother level. I challenge you to do this, even just right now. Go back to January 1st of 2022 in your photo album and just swipe through the year. You'll find hundreds of things that you were grateful for that you forgot about. Hundreds of events, memories, things. Go to January 1st, 2022 in your photo book and just swipe. And you'll find hundreds of things you forgot about. Hundreds of things that you were grateful for. Hundreds of memories that you were like, man, that was such a great thing. And we just build this list of what we're grateful for. And typically what we're grateful for starts to impact the other things. So these are the categories, real quick. I mean, I've talked about this before, I'm gonna talk about it again. So it's love. Love is one of the categories. I don't think this is in the book. You might just wanna write this down on a page somewhere. Love is one. Then home, like what do you wanna do to your house? Like there's always those projects, right? Like the garden or the garage or you know, how many people have like Christmas decorations they've been trying to get rid of for like 5 years, they just never get to it. Home. What'd you say? Oh. Family. It's like things you want to do with or for your family. Like this was one. So just looking through like this year's, like 2023's, we realized looking back at last year, we never took the kids to see Santa Claus because I was busy selling for TCC and Hall of Fame, and then with Champions Parade, like we would look back, we're like, shit, we don't have any pictures with Santa Claus.
Santa was
It's on the list for this year,
Yep.
right? So that it adjusts. Spiritual for us. Financial. Physical. Business. I'll repeat them real quick. I'm sure some people missed some. So we got love, home, family, spiritual, financial, physical, business.
And we typically get asked, what's the difference between love and family? Love is between the two of you. Like, what are things that we want to focus on to make sure that we're still dating each other, that we're still growing together, that we're still in alignment with each other throughout the year? Like, for example, we start the year out with all of our date nights on the calendar for the entire year. And then I can text Grammy and be like, here's all the dates. Are you going to be in town for any of these? If not, I go ahead and line up multiple babysitters, and it's just like, you don't have to think about it. It's on the calendar. Family is like, we want to do family date nights because we don't eat out that often, but the boys have fun when we go to like Five Guys. It doesn't, like Chick-fil-A is actually our go-to family date night right now. But like those also get put on the calendar. So that's the difference between love is mainly between you and your spouse. What do you guys want to do? Whether it's like, I want to go do a new adventure with you, like zip lining or off-roading, or we were supposed to do a UTV trip in Utah last year. Got canceled, but like things like that. Like, what are we going to do for us to grow us and make sure we're still connected? And then family is like, okay, what are we going to do collectively to make sure we're all still on the same page, and understanding that like we are doing all of this for the entire family. Like, let's enjoy it together.
And the intentionality of like everything we've done has been a progression of the year before. Like we realized like we're gonna do better date nights this year. And like, so every quarter we do an overnight date night where we recap our execution of our initiatives that quarter. So we go get a hotel for a night, and like some of our best ideas happen in this like recap of the quarter.
Lindsay hates overnight.
Every time, Lindsay knows. Every time we go on an overnight date nights, we come back with some brilliant idea for WinRate. But look at us here, we win it. But that recap then allows us to say, like, are we on pace or not? We realized we kept failing at certain things. We implemented new strategies, such as we bring a giant wall calendar on this trip now and rewrite every family vacation and every date night on the calendar for the entire year. We write down all the business trips for the year so that date nights get planned accordingly so we don't miss them. And then now we plan around people say all the time, like, what's your priorities? Show me your calendar and your task list, and I'll tell you what your priorities really are. Because I don't use a calendar. Well, then you're an idiot, because you can't remember what you had for breakfast 3 days ago. No, it's what you need to do 2 weeks with your wife.
And if intimacy is a problem, put it on your calendar.
100%. Plan sex.
It's not lame to plan it.
Because you're never going to feel like it. You tired, kids suck, business sucks, family sucks, money problems suck. You're not going to feel like it. But when like you know it's coming, you kind of like prepare differently. You like take a shower that day. It's like you feel good. But it's all about being intentional about it. Because I've said this for years. This is an incredibly powerful, sexy, beautiful, amazing woman. If I don't date her, somebody's going to. Like somebody's going to. Somebody's is gonna give her and make her feel the way she wants to feel, and vice versa. Like if she is not intimate with me, if she's not listening to me, like I'm gonna find it. Like someone when you're online, people find you. In case you didn't know that, DMs are two-way portals. Like
we definitely need to be friends.
Yeah. But intentionality. And we failed for so many years by like talking about it, but then not checking in on it. I think this is where most strategies, most relationships fail. This is not just about marriage. Is you set targets, goals, initiatives, ideas, improvements, desires, and then you just never talk about it again. There's no check-in, there's no strategy, there's no communication, there's no how are we doing at this, there's no are we on pace, there's no here's where I feel like I'm being let down. Like we talked yesterday, like when someone triggers you, tell them when they triggered you. Don't let that seed be planted, and then every time they do that again, it waters that seed, and they don't even know they're pissing you off.
That doesn't mean you have to have a full-blown conversation of like, how are we gonna fix this when you're triggered? But you let them know, like, hey, we have a problem here. Not the time to fix it right now.
Like we
but
learned,
like,
we don't talk before dinner.
No.
We hangry humans, okay? We hangry humans. And so we just learned, like, she'll come at me with something like, can we just talk after dinner? And she'll be like, oh, yeah, sorry.
Our kids do it too. MJ
100%.
will tell you. I don't know where he's at right now, but yeah, he's like,
No,
don't talk to
MJ will be
me,
like,
I'm
can we talk
hungry.
about this later? I just need some me time. I'm like, bitch, you are 7 years old. He is me 100%. But that intentionality of being willing to have that, like I talked about earlier, a co-attack on the problem. Not me versus her, not she doesn't respect me, not he doesn't pay attention, not she's not listening, not, oh my God, I gained a little weight, she doesn't want to have sex with me in a couple weeks, like does she not want me anymore? Is there there's none of that. Because we're co-attacking the problem. Like, and then we got really good, like recently, like within the last 2 years, fully accepting the fact that we have needs and wants that we're allowed to ask for. Mm-hmm. Like no matter how childish or ridiculous or like how immature it makes you feel or how like a real man shouldn't need that. If it's telling you inside of you that you need that, ask for it. Be willing to compromise to an extent, right? Like she may not understand, you may not be able to articulate what you want as effectively as you want from the beginning, but be willing to ask for it.
Hold on, I'm gonna pull a clip in. I want everyone in this room, because like saying it out loud, like still half the time I burst into tears. Everyone in this room, I want you to say out loud, I have needs and that's okay. I have needs and that's okay. It really is. But the first time I said it in therapy, I burst into tears because it made me so uncomfortable. So remind yourself on a regular basis, I have needs and that's okay. My spouse has needs and that's okay. If you don't communicate those needs, because like what I failed to do was acknowledge the fact that I have needs, and therefore I did not properly communicate to him. I'm like, he's just gonna pick up on it and know that these, like, clearly this is what I want.
Yeah, she does
and
this, and I'm supposed to know what that means.
I do not flip my hair. But if I can't even communicate it to myself, how am I supposed to articulate it to him that like, hey, this is what I really need to ask for, but I don't, like now I'll just be like, there's something that I don't know how to put it into words, but like this is where I'm at right now. But acknowledging the fact that I have needs, figuring out how to tell yourself this is what my needs are, then you can successfully articulate it to your spouse because they're never going to be able to help you meet your own needs. They're not going to be able to meet these needs for you. Like you have to know what they are. You have to understand that they're your needs. Like there might be something that you can say, you can support me on this, but it's not their job to truly meet that need.
I think one of the biggest things we've learned, communicating challenges, problems, issues. It took a long time for us to understand that we're allowed to take our baggage off and set it down on this table, and it's not her job to pick it up. And vice versa. That was a huge discovery for us as a couple. Sometimes I just gotta drop the baggage, man. Like, fuck this guy and fuck that guy, and that employee's doing this. No one particularly. But like sometimes you're just angry, right? And it's just like, I gotta take this baggage off. Well, she used to be like, well, how do I pick it up for you? And now she's carrying her baggage and my baggage.
And it's not fixing him.
And it's not fixing me, because it's not her job to carry my baggage. And this was like one of the biggest, like in that visualization for us of saying like, hey, I just need to set my baggage down for a minute. Can you just sit there and watch me do this? And you're just like talking through and getting it out and like letting the emotion flow. Because if you bottle it up, then it compounds and it multiplies. And you'd be amazed just saying something out loud without the fear of being judged about that's something you're angry about. Like that's a really powerful, safe environment to create. Mm-hmm. where you can just be pissed off even at that person, but I'm not asking you to do anything about it. I just got to get this baggage off my shoulders.
And the way we start those conversations, we've learned, because we both are fixers and we want to fix everything, is I just need to get this out of my head. I don't need you to fix it or even say anything right now. I just need to get it out so I stop like dwelling on it. And then, you know, like then your walls as the listener comes down, you're like, oh, okay, good. Whew, I don't have to fix this one. Like not something, but then you just truly listen and you let them get it out of their head. It loses all the power that it currently has on them, because sometimes you get it out and you're like, oh wow, that's really not as big of a deal as it like really sounded in my head, but I really got in there. But starting out with, hey, this is not something I need you to fix. I just need to vent for a second.
And it's also really important to understand in that process, understanding your partner's communication style. I'm a, we need to talk this out right now. She's a, I need like days, okay? And I used to chase her around the house. Bitch, we're gonna talk about this right now. And she just would silently just like walk away. Because when she gets frazzled, she freezes. And you know, like when you're angry, you just try and get a response, right? Like I do that. Like I'm angry and I need you to recognize that I'm angry. And she goes, I need to go fold some laundry. Like, because when she's folding laundry, she's angry. That's just, if you walk into a room and she's folding some clothes, walk out of that room. Do not enter. That is the warning sign. But understanding that, like, I had to learn to adjust of, I'm delivering this to you and I'm prepared to wait for your response. Again, that's me unloading my baggage without expecting her to pick it up. Like it was such a powerful intentionality around our communication style of, I just need to get this off of me. And you're my safe place to do that now. But understanding their communication style, like I want to talk about this right now.
I've learned to shorten my processing time to like 30-ish.
Well, it's shortened because like I stopped chasing around the house, making it longer.
True.
But it's part of that, like, love language is also very, very important. Like, understanding your spouse's love language, like, I am never buying her another gift for the rest of her fucking life.
It means nothing.
She sucks at getting gifts. I put so much thought, effort, energy. It's the right color, the right shape, the right packaging. I'm so, like, Versace about that.
You're welcome.
Bitch. I had a group of friends, and my nickname was Versace, because we were on a golf trip one time, and we were in a guy's like Airbnb, and we had to go get a couch, and I'm the guy in the couch store walking around with like throw pillows from the house to make sure the couch matched the colors in the house. That was me. Not one, like looking back, not one of my finer decisions, but like my mind couldn't stop. Like it's got to look a certain way for me. I'm a very visual person. But yeah, Versace.
In a while.
If that goes on the internet, y'all all getting fired.
No TCC for you.
Yeah, no TCC for you. But, but understanding like, and then so you build this up. When you try to deliver a package that they don't appreciate, you build up their response on what you're expecting because it was important to you. So you build up their reaction. You build up what you're hoping to accomplish. You build up this excitement. You build up what you expect from them. Knowing damn well I'm going to give her the best gift I've ever thought of, and she's going to be like, oh my God, hold me. The package won't even get recognized. It's irrelevant. She doesn't like gifts. And she doesn't like dislike gifts, but it's just not like I want her. Like, oh my God, how did you know? Like, never gonna happen.
It's funny because I will never have, never will. I hate opening gifts in front of people because I don't respond how you're expecting me to. So just for forewarning. But it's funny because then I will go tell all the girls like, oh my God, he got me these awesome boots for Christmas and I love them and like they go so well with my outfit. But he doesn't see that, right? Or like the little like.
They were really nice boots.
They were really nice boots.
I got all the colors.
He did get all the colors.
And she's open. She goes, huh?
I was super excited.
Huh? Huh?
I probably showed more emotion over my workout shorts than I did the boots, but I love the boots. But yeah.
100%. That man has no emotion. But it's like understanding the communication, understanding the love language, understanding how they're going to respond. This is where you've been lying to yourself, like I talked about yesterday afternoon. This time will be different. This time I'll get what I'm looking for. This time he'll understand my head nod.
I do not flip my hair like
You
that.
are a fucking liar.
My hair's always in a messy bun. How do I flip it? Yeah,
About
okay.
to get marital dispute up. Let me show you how to be intentional.
No, but going back to something you said, I don't flip my neck.
That is
That was
on like
painful.
6 different cameras right now.
I don't flip my neck. I flip my. Anywho.
Thank you.
But going back to something you said earlier about communicating, like the goal setting and like the wives asking, like, when is it my turn? Because, like, to be fair, sometimes a business can feel like the mistress, right? Because you're just all consumed by it, and we're just like, we're over here, like, I'm here, your kids are here, like, could you just, like, look our way every once in a while, or look up every once in a while? But communicating to them, not only, like, making sure they understand why you're doing what you're doing, because you could tell us all day long, I'm doing this for you. Well, it doesn't fucking feel like it, because you're not here. But also articulating, this is the role I want you to play. Like, we're not there yet, but I want you in this role. Like, we talked for at least a year where it was like, I want to run a business with you at some point. When I was still in corporate America, and I'm like, yeah, one day. We go on an overnight date night, sure as shit. It's like, well, so what's next for WinRate? And he's like, I want you. Like, I need you. And I'm like, one day. No, next day. Next day we went. But, like helping them understand, like, what you're envisioning, because most of you are probably visionaries if you own your business. Helping them understand that picture. This is how I see you as a part of this, which he's incredible at. He's incredible at painting that picture of, like, this is where we're going, this is what it's gonna look like. Our house, for example, like, literally, he could tell you, like, 3 years ago, this is exactly like the color our house is gonna be, our front door, and I'm like,
you're gonna make me cry.
sure as shit, like,
Legit.
that's our house. And I'm like, I try to do
Vision
this,
boards are real.
but I try to do this, and I see this black curtain, and I'm like, this is so infuriating for me. But, like, helping paint that picture for them and how you are envisioning them being a part of that picture is huge. Because if she can't see it, she's angry, she's hurt, she doesn't understand. She's like, we're supposed to be in this together. Woo! I was not gonna cry up here.
Am I a terrible husband?
No, but, like, that's what I'm saying, you're so good at it. Like,
it doesn't look like I'm good at it. I'm just letting you know.
No, but, like, I was that post kids. I was so lost in my own stuff, and I couldn't see it, but he could, and, like, we weren't, our communication wasn't as strong. We still were very strong communicators, but, like, him painting the picture of, like, I want you to be a part of this. I want you to be in the business with me. I want us to be, like, side by side every day. That has its own struggles, being together all the time. But help paint that picture for her, or him, whichever way.
And the final point I'll give you before we break to get the panel ready is, one of the biggest mistakes I see is false commitments. And the spouse becomes the first thing to get pushed. You know, the spouse becomes the first thing to get rescheduled. Typically, when people start to feel like they're not being seen, is when you say you're going to do something and don't follow through on it. Mm-hmm. That was a mistake I made. You know, that's this, babe, this meeting's really important, man. Like, this could be the referral partner. I'm, like, making 42 grand a year, like I'm some fucking baller. Babe, you just don't understand. This is the one. And so that was where I made the change, where we started using the calendar and, like, holding ourselves to a strong commitment to, if I say you're going to get this sliver of me, I guarantee you're gonna get that sliver from me. 100% focused on you. So, like, and, like, don't overcomplicate. Like, we added in a Monday lunch date where we literally just sit at the kitchen counter with no phones for 30 minutes. It's not a lot, but I told her she would get it, and I give it to her. That's it. Like, to be seen is to be appreciated, not quantity, quality. I said this, and you're gonna get it no matter what's going on. That's the power of a strong relationship, is no matter what's going on, you're going to get this part I told you, and you can look forward to that and fucking take it to the bank. You know whatever happening on Wednesday, Thursday night, date night, there's been 4 or 5 date nights this year.
I was gonna say.
When we walked out of the house, I'm practically in tears exhausted, but I'm going on that fucking date night. Every time, there's been a breakthrough. Every time it's been worth it. Every time a great conversation happened. Every time I was able to realize I took some baggage off at that dinner and set it on that table and left it at that fucking restaurant.
And I would say not all of them look like the romance movies or novels date nights. Like they don't. Like sometimes there's tears and you're like, holy shit, I didn't know we were carrying that right now. But at the end of the night, you're like, I'm so glad we still went because we were both tired. We both didn't really want to, but it was on the calendar and like, we're gonna honor it. And like, there was a breakthrough.
Yeah, it's the honoring the commitment that makes them feel seen. When they see and they know and they can tell you didn't want to, but you did anyway, because they see you do that in your business every fucking day. That's the part we miss as the business leader or owner or employee, is they watch us sacrifice and do shit we don't want to do for our business or our employees or our customers every day. You fake it all the time, but you can't fake it for 30 minutes to like give me some attention. You're too tired for your kids for the 6 minutes they want to go do something.
It's literally not longer than 6 minutes.
It's never more than 6 minutes.
All right.
All right, we can talk all day about this. We're gonna get the panel up going.